This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com. ODOO.com.
KFAN and Sukup Manufacturing bring you Fan on the Farm. Starting May 19th, 9 to noon, we'll be taking your tractor talkbacks. Each day, one farmer will be chosen to receive a Sukup prize pack, including a Carhartt cooler and a Brewmate Growler canteen. Get full details, KFAN.com/farm. Sukup Manufacturing Company, helping farmers feed and fuel the world.
Couple 13-14 past Common Man program. I'm Common. He's Brett Blakemore in for Tenna B. It's time now for 5, 3, 4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the welfare of the wolves.
Yes, your Timberwolves have an opponent for round 2, the Golden State Warriors. After waiting for a final Game 7 against the Rockets, now we know it's going to be Jimmy Buckets, Draymond Green, and co. But the question remains, because the Wolves have been off, it'll be 6 days. So that means
rest or rust.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. I was just waiting for my turn to talk. Was that Wolves?
That was Wolves.
How much the rest did they have?
6 days. It will be 6 days by the time they play.
I would rather have the rest. I don't really believe in the rusting. I think that's a convenient excuse. That's a loser's lament. So when you lose, you go, we just hadn't played in a while. Now, I could make an argument where I would rather keep playing, especially when you're on a roll like the Wolves were. I mean, they destroyed the Lakers. Gentleman's sweep. Just want to take 2 nights off and play again. But you get the rest. You have the knowledge that you're really playing well and you just destroyed a team that had been a higher seed. Only had one game better in the win-loss column, but a team that had been favored to beat you. Most of the so-called experts, including Mark Rosen, picked the Lakers to win. I did not. I picked the Wolves. But so I would rather have the rest. And again, let's say you start the game, and let's say you are a little rusty, and the Golden State comes out, and all of a sudden they jump out to a 14-3 lead, and Finchie's got to call a timeout. I think he'll be okay. Call a timeout. Coach brings over and say, guys, did you not realize we're playing a game tonight? I know you've been off You're not used to playing, but let's pick it up here. So I don't think it will make it. I do like for me, for instance, I don't like to talk about myself or use myself as an example or an analogy or comparison.
I always love that one.
You know, I played really well today. I can't wait to play again tomorrow. I don't want to take a couple of days off. Golfing, not basketball. So why would I want to take a couple of days off? I want to keep going. So I do like the idea of continuing to play. But, hey, you know, what a pro wants, what a pro needs. And I'm sure the Wolves liked having the time off.
Question number 2.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Crack out a home run, shout a hit,
Hooray!
cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
Starting to do the things they used to do to make them good, me boy.
Think about it. Yeah, taking 2 out of 3 in Boston at Fenway. But now, today, they activated Royce Lewis off the injured reserve. Here he comes. Yes?
Oh, were you going to play a highlight?
Well, I was going to play this.
It's time now for the Where on the Bandwagon is Common update.
Sorry about that. Starting to really feel comfortable with this fill-in stuff, aren't you? You could do the full-time job if Tenneby was gone, right? If he said, I've moved on to bigger, I finally had the video recording. You know, I got the video coordinator job at the Wild. I'm out.
He's been gunning for that for a while.
You could slip right into this job, wouldn't you?
I'd like to think so.
Now,
that's one of my favorites.
Now,
I like that one.
let's just play this out. Let's say that were to happen. Tenneby gets the, now, you got to really use your imagination that the Wild are going to hire him as the video coordinator. Let's say they do. We're not just going to give you the producer job. It would be on a interim basis. I mean, you would be interim producer to see how it goes. We got to see what the chemistry. I mean, it's okay when you're filling in every once in a while, right? You remember Joan Rivers when she would fill in for Johnny Carson. Very good. Jay Leno would fill in. Very good. A lot of people filled in and did it. John Davidson. There were a lot of people that did a nice job filling in, but when it came time to being the guy, not all of them could handle it. So you would be an interim on this start.
I'd be willing to accept those terms.
And sometimes it takes a while to convince me. You know, I mean, Tenneby's been, we did give him a promotion. He went from interim to bridge producer. But he's not been the full-time producer. He's been here 17 years. So just to let you know, you might be facing that. And can you handle that? Because I got to think Tenneby gets, like when he's he's coaching hockey with his kids, it's like, you're just an interim. You're just an interim. Do you think he gets teased like that? I mean, would you be able to handle that? The mocking, the ridiculing, the guffawing at you for you're only able to be the interim. You haven't been able to latch on to the full-time job.
Yeah, when are you going to finally get that big promotion?
Yeah.
I think I could handle it. I think I could. Well, then again, there's a reason why Tenna's trying to get that video coordinator job.
That's it, too.
So maybe, I guess you'll never know unless you're there.
What was your question, by the way?
Twins.
It's time now for the Where on the Bandwagon is Common update.
I've got my thumb out. They're driving by. I haven't even been on it at all this year. I'm just hoping they stop and pick me up.
Fair enough.
But then I'm on the running board holding on to that leather strap like you see on subways. I'm not ready to sit down yet. You know what I will say, though? I'm about to say something controversial.
That's interesting.
Getting Royce Lewis back from IR is like making a midseason trade. Right? Oh, my gosh. Has he played a game in the regular season for us? Did he get hurt in the first game of the regular season, or was it in preseason?
I feel like it was in spring training.
Yeah.
But thanks, Lavelle.
So it's just like making a trade, right? We just traded for Royce Lewis, who at one time was the top-ranked prospect in all of Major League Baseball. We just traded for him. It would be similar to the Lakers trading for Doncic and leading in their world champ. Leading them to the semifinal. No, I should have said leading them to the Western Conference. Taking them to the semifinal. A lot of good that trade did him, huh? The guy the GM that traded him in Dallas is a genius. He knew what he was doing. That's too much money to pay for a guy that doesn't want to work out, doesn't want to play defense, just wants to whine. He can put the biscuit in the basket, but I'd rather have street clothes. So I'm on the I'm on the bandwagon.
Question number 3.
The CJ Cup was this past weekend, and I don't think I've ever seen a score like this. Scottie Scheffler won finishing with a total of 31 under. Second place, 23 under. Commanding lead for Scottie in his hometown of Dallas. Do you like when scores are that low?
How many birdies did he end up with? Do you know? Because here's what I'll tell you. Through 2 rounds, he'd only birdied half the holes. I'm pretty disappointed in that from Scottie. How do you only birdie half the holes? I mean, that just doesn't seem like it's... I mean, that's not very good golf. I don't know. I don't like it when it's that low. No, I don't. I didn't watch any of it, so I'm gonna, again, people probably realize that I comment on sports without seeing it. My guess is, and then with 23 second place, fairways were as big as the state of Montana. The rough was like a fine trimmed lawn out in Wayzata. Probably no wind. Accessible pins, because you can't post that. I mean, I know he's really, really good. He's the number 1 ranked player in the world. And gosh, when you're talking about iron play, is there anybody better? There's a handful of others that could, you could make a case for, but he's amongst the top 3, 4, 5 iron players in the business. The thing that's really kept him from maybe even being better than he is he has a balky putter. There are times I'm a better putter than Scottie Scheffler. Oh my God! I don't. 31 above average. That's why the Masters was so much fun, grinding out scores, and U.S. Open's fun too. Though U.S. Open, the one thing that, and it's not like this every year, but they like to grow the rough up. It's usually just who can drive the straightest, right? Mm-hmm. So if you just want to watch a driving contest, great, because you got to stay out of the rough. But still, regardless, I don't care how. Is undifficult a word? Because, I don't use the E word when it comes to golf. I don't use easy.
Less challenging?
Yes. Thank you. I don't know how less challenging the golf course really was, and if the pins were this, and there wasn't very much. But that's still 31 under par is remarkable golf. It really, truly is.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 questions. Well, actually, 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Let's pause and return. But before we do that, we've got, what do we call it again? Bonus box brought to you by BigDeck.com.
The fan at BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus box to our national cash contest. Head to KFAN.com. Keyword is grand for this hour. The keyword grand, KFAN.com. Keyword grand.
Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
This is The Fan.
your favorite KFAN shows. You can make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. So let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That is 64686. Standard text message and data rates apply.
The 13-14 pass common man program. I'm Common. He is Brett Blakemore. Tenneby makes his triumphant return tomorrow, as does Mark Rosen at 2 o'clock. I forgot to get to the I told you, so I said I was a better putter than 50% of those guys on PGA Tour. So I think the golf god said, "Oh, you think so, do you?" Because since the day I said that, my putting has been the putter's been balky. So I asked for forgiveness today from the golfing god. Standing next to the 14th tee box at Prestwick, I said, "Dear golf god, please accept this apology. This braggadocio, getting cocky. I don't think the golf god likes people that are cocky, arrogant, and I asked for forgiveness today. Repent or perish." And then I went and made a beautiful 2-putt, almost made birdie from 20 feet on that hole. Of course, then I 3-putted 16. But then I barreled in. He left me with a nice taste in my mouth on 18. He let me with mower guy going, "Well, let's see you make it." And I barreled it in. So I think the golf god was very good to me. So, but sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes, I got a little carried away with the better than 50% of the guys on tour. I guess I probably am not. But I did. Though it's amazing how people are getting on me. Where do I have this one? I was talking about home court advantage. This one says, "Well, I take the low number of 60% on 60 to 69. It's a pretty big advantage. A fail for the esoteric approach. Well, I took the low number because it buttresses my argument." I mean, ask any attorney at law. What's an attorney at law? He's going to use an argument that makes it look, if he's a defense attorney, he's going to use an argument that makes it less likely the jury's going to discover that his client is guilty. Oh, what kind of a question is that? Why would you use the lower number? Because I don't think home court advantage is as big a deal as people make it out to be. And I have numbers that say 60. Grok AI told me 69 to 60% when you look at NHL, MLB, NFL, and NBA since the beginning of time. And someone said, in the NBA, the home team has won 112 out of 151 series that went 7 games, so it's really not negligible. All right. He's using evidence that would buttress his argument. My whole argument, though, really comes down to, here's, I think, what some of them are. Because the Timberwolves have home court advantage, they think I'm trying to lessen their chances to win and make them more worried than they probably need to be or want to be, so they attack me. It's the old, don't shoot the messenger? Is that what that old saying is? I'm just giving you what the numbers are. At the 60%, that means the home team wins 6 out of 10. That is pretty good. But it also said, Grok AI said, the deeper you get into the playoffs, the less home court advantage it means, because the teams are pretty, at that point, they're pretty even. Look, I think the Wolves are going to win the series. I could change my mind tomorrow depending on how much money Mark Rosen wants to bet. But as we speak right now, I'm just saying I like the Wolves, but I don't understand why people, well, here's one. Home court advantage may not be as good as we think. Go look at the Wolves app for ticket availability. Thousands of seats available tomorrow night. Thousands. Wolves tried price gouging the fan base for round 2. Fans aren't buying the BS. Are they price gouging? Do you know what they're charging for those tickets?
I don't. Off the top
Mark
of my
Rosen
head.
doesn't either. So it's spendy, man, would be my guess. I mean,
Not for Mark Rosen.
well, not for
free.
Rosen, no, yeah. Yeah, it can be spendy if you want to be, especially if you want to be close up. I don't even know how many are. How many season ticket holders are there? Then how many of the really good seats are available? And then what do they cost? I don't know. I'm still more comfortable on my couch, but people that want to be there and they want to be in the belly of the beast, you're probably going to have to pay a pretty penny to be there. I don't think there's any, but for this matchup, I mean, just all the sidebar stories that we talked about are so much fun. It would be this series has a lot of, I mean, first of all, there's a lot at stake. The winner goes to the Western Conference Finals, but then just all the sidebar stories, on the intrigue and such like that. Did you look up some prices? Is that what you were looking at?
Sure.
I did.
Well, I'll say this too. Last round we were paying the LeBron tax, right? Because it's LeBron James,
sure.
It's the Lakers, it's Luka. So they're gonna mark them up more for that, most likely. Now you're paying the Steph tax. Do you want to see Steph Curry play against your Wolves? So I think best case scenario for ticket pricing for the fans would have been if the Rockets would have won last night. But you're going to have to pay the Steph tax, unfortunately, which I can understand. But I'm trying to look at Wolves, like just the cheapest get-in price possible.
There's this. Somebody's been texting me now every day for like a week. And it says, he's obsessed with me hitting up the gut. I just want Common to be honest with us once and say I was 20 yards in the right rough instead of up the middle when asked where he hit it on one. I don't say up the middle, I say up the gut.
Mm-hmm.
I always hit it up the gut. How many rounds of golf you play with me, Brett Blakemore? 15, 20?
Probably up
25?
to that point, yeah.
Have I never not hit it right up the middle on the first tee?
Make a big turn. There it goes.
Keep my eye
Right
on
up
the ball.
gut. That's right.
Finish with my right hand over left shoulder.
Uh-huh.
Plus, it's a bit. Of course, I don't hit everyone, but just like the home team doesn't always win in the playoffs. They just don't always win, so.
Cheapest get-in price tonight, for what I'm seeing, $151, and that's way up. $151.
Where's the no?
It's right here.
No! How much?
$151.
Come on, that can't be possible. I don't understand ticket buying. Can you buy directly from the Wolves? You can, right? But then they have these secondary markets.
Yeah.
Then you can buy them out on the street, right? How much is the difference between buying directly from the Wolves and a secondary market? I don't understand. I mean, I understand scalping. Guys buy a bunch of tickets and they try to sell them for more than they bought them for, right? Because you're not going to buy tickets for $151 and sell them for $121. So I'm not even sure how it all works, but I don't know who you're better off buying it from. But if you're saying get in at $151, I'm getting out. And it's to each his own. I mean, again, people will pay whatever. I paid, was it $250 to get in to see McCartney at Target Field? My guess is there's people out there that if McCartney was playing in their backyard, they'd call the police and tell them, hey, there's some old hippie with graying hair singing I Want to Hold Your Hand, and I want you to, I want you to tell him to leave. So it kind of just depends upon what you're looking for. But that's a lot of loot to get into that game. 151.
Mm-hmm. And that's on the resale. And I'll say this, the lowest, what I'm seeing lower bowl, like in the actual 100s, is $365 is your cheapest. And that's on the resale. I'm trying to get into the official Wolves one, and it's not letting me. So thinks I'm a robot. So,
well, this text message says, Ticketmaster, this is Mike from Bismarck. Ticketmaster has the cheapest Wolves tickets at $158. $158.
It's about the
What's
same.
the most expensive lower bowl ones? Did you see those?
The most expensive I'm seeing is 5,042. Yeah.
Well, again, everybody lives in a different, in a different lane, right? I mean, there are to some people that $5,042 is basically like $50.42.
Walking around.
Yeah, it's like it's not that big of a deal to them. But this one says Timberwolves game one ticks anywhere from $150 to $23K.
Jeez.
23,000? That can't be right. All resale on Ticketmaster. We'll take a break, come back. You got plenty more to get to here with Common Man, Brett Blakemore, and more. We don't have a whole cast of characters, you know them, but we'll be back after this here in the Fan.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Pass here in the Common Man program. I'm Common, he's Brett Blakemore. Tenneby in Blandon Dunes playing golf. I think he returned sometime today and will be back on the air with us tomorrow at 12 noon. The legendary Mark Rosen will join us at 2 o'clock. This past weekend, I was up at Grandview in Brainerd for the first Tee Green of the year. That town will never be the same. Not because of my appearance for Tee to Green, but the Power Trip Morning Show was at Grandview Lodge for the first time ever broadcasting live. They did a Thursday night. I think they did a watch party kind of a thing. They watched, was that the last game? Was it Thursday night? Was the Wild game, right? So they must have done a Wild watch party. Or was it the Wolves game where they eliminated one of the two? They did a watch party. They had a great time to be had by one and all. And then the Power Trip Morning Show did their show on Friday morning and did the initials game and had a great time. And what was interesting, though, is I heard through the grapevine that all the Brainerd area middle schools had their 8th grade classes attend the Power Trip Morning Show so they could see what it was like to see older people relive the 8th grade. Because that's what the Power Trip Morning Show did, so they had a lot of 8th graders there. And the lesson to be learned was, you're all in 8th grade now, don't be like the members of the Power Trip Morning Show and just get stuck in the 8th grade and just keep running on that hamster wheel over and over and over again, really reliving all those 8th grade hijinks that we've all learned to to know and come at. We've learned to love, to know and love. Learn to know and love. Sauce actually played golf with me on Saturday morning, his first round of the year. I thought there was no chance. I texted him, we were to tee off at 6 a.m. You know what the temperature was? 33 degrees.
And Sauce went?
He went. I said, it's going to be low to mid 30s when we tee off. And he sent hideous. But then he said, I'll be there. And he did. He showed up. Very slight frost delay. People might find this surprising. Frost is a delight to play with. He really is, because he doesn't take himself too serious. He knows he's not any good. And he's not one of those guys where he's not a sweaty or a tryhard. In other words, like when Tenneby first took up the game, we're playing up at the Preserve. one of the Grandview Lodge golf properties. And he's just starting to play the game, so he's struggling, right? We get to number 3 at Preserve, which is a elevated tee box, par 4, swings down, goes up, lakefront influence, and out. It's like this could be the call I've been waiting my entire life for. One of these days I'm going to get a call and I don't know who it's coming from, when it's coming, what it's about, but it's going to change my life. So it's a par 4, slight dog leg right to left, very slight, but it's got a little elevated tee down into a little bit of valley, then goes back up, right, to a kind of a green that sits up top, and there's a fairway bunker on the right. Anyways, Tenneby's having all kinds of trouble. He's playing Army golf, left, right, and he's a guy that he's not going to just go, I'm line 7 already, and I'm still 200 yards from the green. I think I'll just pick up. He plays it to the bitter end, right? So he's over in the woods right of the green. He's chopping it out here and chunking it out there. Worlds is playing with us. Worlds goes, watch this. He goes, Tenneby, what'd you make on the hole? He goes, 9. And Worlds goes, are you sure that wasn't a 10? And Tenneby goes, no. And he starts pointing everywhere. 1, 2, 3 in the woods, 4. And we were just doing, it was hilarious. He counts every single shot. And it's like, okay. Meat Sauce doesn't do that. I'll just throw this one up there by you. And he does hit some good shots. And again, I took him under my wing. He never made a big enough turn when I played with him over Golden Valley. As soon as so everything's going right. I said, make a bigger turn. He makes a big turn, hits it right up the middle. And then I gave him another tip too, a couple of different ones. I gave him one where I told him to he wasn't keeping his eye on the ball long enough, so he was kind of topping every once in a while. So I got him to stop that. And then I told him to take 2 weeks off and quit. And skip the first par 3 you come to, and your round.
I always love that one.
Your round will be better. I don't believe this. Text message says, I see 2 tickets, row A, for $22,732.64. I think those are Glenn Taylor seats. He's selling them, right? Glenn's just selling his own seats. He's out. That should have been a rim shot there. Because he's really not selling his seats, but because he sold the team and he didn't get the kind of money he wanted to, because it was only $1.5 million. So I say he's selling. See, I was supposed to be a joke.
Brilliant.
You're a tough interim producer.
I think I'm being pretty generous. But no, that was funny. That was funny, though.
Wow. Yeah, you are being generous. Trust me. You're a wild guy.
I am.
Fish Wrap Factory West Side today. Sarah McClellan. What did I do with my phone? Oops. Oh, gosh. I just spilled my pop all over the control board. It's seeping into everything.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no. Look no. Look at the microphone. No. That's why I have it on the floor. I kicked it over on the floor. That's why you put it on the floor. Even if it was just a little bit because I grabbed it right away. But that's
clean it up before 3.
Yeah, I will. Trust me. I'm going to do it right now, as a matter of fact. Throwing these paper towels on top of it to get it all cleaned up. Sarah McClellan writes for Fish Wrap Factory. Her headline, in Tenneby and I briefly touched on this last week, and of course it's been a running topic. All eyes are on Kirill Kaprizov's contract situation with the Wild offseason underway. The Russian star can become a free agent after next season, but he says he wants to stay, and the team finally has salary cap flexibility.
Kaprizov.
I think I don't know if this is the first time he has come out and said he wants to stay. Maybe he has in passing before. But now when kind of the rubber meets the road, right? I mean, now it's like, he has one more year, but if you don't get him signed this year, that probably means, I think in most sports, is that correct? That if you don't sign in the year before you're about to expire, you're probably going to take a walk into free agency?
Mm-hmm.
He says that he'll go to Russia. Season's over. He's going to hang out with his friends. Says he'll take a vacation if they want to travel. Otherwise, he'll go camping and fishing, which he's never done in Minnesota. He said, I need to come here before camp early a little bit and go fishing, but I hear it's good here. Huh? One of the best. Story goes on to say, now that the Wild's offseason is officially underway after the team was knocked out of the playoffs, Kaprizov's future will headline a potentially transformative summer for the Wild because President of Hockey Operations Billy Guerin will have about $20 million in salary cap space to spend. Kaprizov, of course, deferred to his agent. He says, this is my agent's job, talk with Billy. But we will see. I love everything here, but should be all good. Kaprizov has one season left on the current deal, a 5-year, $45 million contract that he signed just before training camp in 2021. He's eligible to sign an extension beginning July 1, a deal that could make him one of the highest paid players in the NHL. The Wild can offer as much as an 8-year contract, but if he doesn't re-up, Kaprizov can test free agency next summer. The longest he could sign with another team would be for 7 years. Asked whether he wants to get a deal done before the season starts, he says, probably. I don't know. We'll see. So he's leaving some wiggle room. He doesn't want to make a commitment. And even if he said, yeah, I do want to get a deal done before the season, doesn't mean he couldn't say we weren't able to reach one. Mm-hmm. The speculation has been that, I mean, certainly if you're all about the money, then, the Wild apparently can, probably offer more than most other teams technically, right? Because, or can another team offer more? I don't know. But I think a lot of it becomes, with most elite players, they're going to get the money one way or the other, right? They're going to get the check, and they always do. For many of these players, because they already know they're going to get the money wherever they play, the most important thing really becomes, where do I have the best chance to win, right? It's here in Minnesota, it's really been sort of, I think, difficult for anybody to ascertain how good they could be if they can win, and not just, hey, make the playoffs and get bumped in the first round, but actually advance and have a chance to win a Stanley Cup because of the Parise-Suter situation, because the Wild really haven't had a lot of money to spend because of their salary cap limitations. We don't know how good they can be. So going into this season, I think most of us, I don't know how Brett Blakemore felt, but I was amongst the skeptics that thought, well, hey, we should be good, okay, but we don't have enough pieces, and we need to get out of this contract and add more scores. I think most people, I certainly was surprised by the start to the season they had. They were one of the best teams in hockey. An early front runner was Kaprizov for the Hart Trophy, and his injury, he was out basically from December until the last 2 games of the season. He came back for that short 3-game stint, but then had to undergo surgery. Joel Eriksson-Ek was out. Wasn't Spurgeon out for a while too? There were a number of injuries to players. But to be able to get out of the gates as quick as they did when the team was at full strength, to hang on and make postseason play. And again, I'm not a moral victory guy, but most NHL games, I think for the most part, some puck luck here and some puck luck there. Here's puck luck. There's puck luck. Everywhere there's puck luck. Teams can win games that maybe they shouldn't have, but they were in those games right to the very end. And so I think, is that enough to? And again, I don't know. Kaprizov said all the right things in this piece. And does he think he has seen enough that he thinks the team now with extra salary cap dollars, much of it to be given to him, and with the players they have on the team, can they become a force in the West and not just make the playoffs and get bounced, would he stay? I certainly hope so, but because without him, I don't know where they would go. I mean, right?
Oh, if Kaprizov left, that'd be catastrophic failure for sure. And from hearing all the tea leaves and hearing Kaprizov, like, I feel more confident than ever that he will resign and they'll get something done. July 1's the magical date where they can actually start talking to him about an extension or talking to his agent. He said all the right stuff, so I'm happy with that. I felt the same way going into the season that I do right now, that I just don't know if there's enough depth scoring, and there needs to be more. And whether that comes in the form of big guys that can hit that have skill or small guys that have skill, to me, it's all, they need more scoring. And if we saw that if the Kaprizov and Boldy line wasn't going in the playoffs, then they didn't win the game. And even though, Hartman chipped in for a couple, Foligno chipped in for a couple, it's still not as consistent. I mean, when Kaprizov was out, the team floundered. I mean, it took them until the last game, the last second of the season to make the playoffs because Kaprizov was out. When you look at a team like the Dallas Stars, who are still missing two of their top players, they just won the first round because they have so much depth scoring. So I didn't think that, Billy really improved in that facet last offseason, and we'll see if he does this time now that he has more money to spend. But that's kind of where I stand. But I'm happy with Kaprizov and everything that he said. He said more positive Minnesota stuff than I thought he was going to. So that makes me very happy.
Deep into Sarah's piece, it says, the Parisi Suter buyouts would no longer cost the team nearly $15 million. I mean, $15 million, especially in the National Hockey League, is an enormous amount of money. It'll now only eat up roughly 1.67 of the Wild's budget to give the team more money to apply to the active roster. Zuccarello is quoted. He's going in to the last year of his contract, I believe, and he's nearing the end of his career. Is that correct? He's been around a while.
And he's teeing off on 16, maybe on 16 green.
He says, add some pieces to Kaprizov and Bolds in the young core. The future is really good for this team. And apparently Kaprizov has the same opinion. He says, we play good in playoffs. We lose, I know, this first round, but I feel how we play and stuff like this, I feel it was a pretty good team. We have a good chance to go in the second round because it was close. It was 2-1, then 2 overtime games, then 3-2. It's a nice series. I know it's bad when you lose first round, but it's frustrating all the time. But I feel for the future, too, we have a nice team. So, again, that's no guarantees. Things can certainly change in a hurry. I don't think our experience with him would be, well, he says one thing out of one side of his mouth and does another. He doesn't seem to be that guy. Now, we don't know. That could end up happening because some guys will do that, They'll say one thing and they really don't necessarily mean it. They'll say what they feel fans in the team, upper management that handles it, what they want to hear at the time being, but you always leave an out, right? There's always a place for exit stage left. And a lot of players have done that over the years, right? I mean, look at Diggs wanted out. How many other guys, if you look at teams all across pro sports, how many guys have wanted out? They don't want to be there anymore for whatever reason. Money's not right.
Not the right fit.
Not the right fit. They don't like their role with the team. They don't like the direction the team is headed. They don't feel as though, they feel like they should be, like we're using football. I should be the number one wide receiver on this team. I should be option one. What do you mean? I'm going to be, I'm not buying into that. So, but he said all the right things right now. And I do think without him, they're in deep trouble if they don't. But my guess is he stays. If, because the money will be good. The thing is, I would hope he would sign in July 1 because if he waits to go another year, and go into that free agency, then it's, I think then at that point all bets are off because that would seem to me, that would lead me to believe that there is a little bit of, I'm not really all in here. I mean, I am, but I'm not. I'm leaving my options open, which really, I don't know. I mean, from the player standpoint, you don't want to close doors, right? I mean,
unless you're making a boatload of money.
Right. But once you got the money, that's what we were just talking about. So once you have the money, does it really matter? He's going to get money from anywhere. You can be one of the highest paid players in the league and play for a terrible team in a terrible city with terrible fans and a terrible stadium and terrible concessions, terrible cheerleaders, terrible parking.
I always love that.
Everything about him is terrible. And then you're like, well, yeah, I've got the wine and the women, but I don't have the song. I need the wine, women, and song. So I think it is important, and I think the team has shown that they're competitive, and certainly Leopold is not afraid to try to put together a winning club. So he's, I don't know. Without him, we're doomed. Well, I don't say doomed. Now, one player does not a team make, but a player of that caliber, I mean, he's amongst the best in the league. It would be devastating. We'll take a break. I got controversial Vikings news. I finally dug some up. I'll have that. Yeah, I'll have that for you. It doesn't have to do with Aaron Rodgers. But we'll take a look at that on the other side of the break. Hour to go. Common Man Program here on The Fan.
Some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.